Guys, I miss the old Facebook. This website just sucks so much ass. So much ass. I was reminiscing
Uh,
about it over the weekend. Just so much shit that's just on there, just popping up on the timeline. It's ridiculous. I was like, you remember when you used to not be able to share anything? It was photos and your status. That was it. Times were simpler. There weren't links all over the place, news stories. We've gotten into the whole issue about when they got rid of the .edu mandate, where that's the email address you had to have to register for Facebook and just open it up to the world. Mistake number one. This website is terrible. Like, Chris, you mentioned this a couple weeks ago about just social media in general, and we talk about Twitter all the time. But and this is tough for me to say as an advertiser, as a marketer who uses Facebook's tools, and they're extremely valuable. How they can target specific types of people. Burn it down. Like I'm done with it. It's just the people on there are stupid. The content on there is stupid. And there was a time where it's like, oh, I don't need to see a picture of 85 pictures of what you're doing on June 15th with your kid learning how to color. Like, I don't need that. But I also don't need all this other garbage either. I miss the old Facebook. I do. And it made me think a little bit deeper, gentlemen. Looking at the three major social medias that we've grown up with over time. We're not going to get into current day TikTok and everything like that. Between Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, if you got the chance to take one back, to go back to the old days, the old ways when it first came out. So Facebook, like I said, when it was like photos and statuses and simple and just individuals, no news, no fake news, none of that. Twitter, we're scaling back the characters again. Retweets were way more limited. If you remember back in the day, you didn't have all those algorithms. Everything was actually in chronological order. You remember that? Or Instagram, which hasn't changed a lot and is now a Facebook child, but no Instagram stories, no more. What are you doing in the moment? Tell me what you did yesterday. Which of those three would you like to go back in the DeLorean, in the time machine, and go back to the old ways?
This is a phenomenal question.
I love this question.
I'm thinking about this in two ways, personally and professionally.
Fair.
Personally, the golden age of Facebook was when we were in college and it was just a competition to see who could post funnier drunk photos.
Exactly.
That was my favorite all-time time on any social media platform, because it was like you said, you had to have the college email address. So the stuff you were posting was only for college kids or recent graduates. So parents and aunts and uncles and all that, they weren't, there was no problem with people seeing it or having opinions on it or anything like that. And while you didn't like post it by saying this, it was kind of like me and my friends, and then you and your friends at this other, like who's having a better time, right? It was like kind of a competition, but nobody was saying it. You were just posting photos. And I think professionally, I want to go back to the time when on Twitter, you could get retweeted and people would actually follow you because of it. You could have a great tweet. It would get retweeted 500 times and you would get like 75 followers from that. Like that doesn't happen anymore because people just hit, like you said, people just hit retweet. They don't even look at your profile to see who you are, what you do, what the value might be in following that person. It's just like stream of consciousness, Yep. So I think those are my two.
I am with you on that. Because with Twitter, I wish Twitter would go back to early Twitter because you actually knew you were talking to a person.
Yeah.
Now there's bots. You know what I mean? Like pretty much if someone has like a dog like Avi as their photo and then it says like Brad 7893456 and it says join Twitter May 2020. that's not a real person that's saying anything to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's something that it didn't exist on Twitter until, I don't know, 2014, 2015. And now it's like, I really don't know if I'm interacting with a real person. I don't know if I'm interacting with a bot account. You know what I mean? Like, we'll talk about K-pop music later and what we're listening to. But like, if you were to tweet something about Blackpink or BTS or whatever, you're just going to get a bunch of just bots. It's like somebody in one room that has a bunch of that you can hit send on a tweet and it goes to like, and the same thing goes out to like 500 accounts.
Mhm.
And like, I wish that wasn't the case with Twitter, because I'm with you. Like, I miss when you could actually, you retweeted somebody, you're like, oh no, I'm following this guy. Like, this is actually great. Now it's a lot different than that. I hear you. And also Instagram, I do wish Instagram could go, I wish Instagram would go back to before the before the selfie mode on your camera, for the front facing camera
Mhm.
was there, because I liked when people just, it was facing outward. It was so much better. And I wish more people would do that. And I mean, I feel like most of the accounts that I follow on Instagram are like that, but I miss when more people face the camera outwards. And
Yeah,
they were giving
everything.
pictures of what was around them, not just themselves. I feel like
Yeah.
Instagram changed with that. And I still love Instagram. It's just like, I would like more of that.
Yeah, everything that you both described makes it, each one of those, far less authentic now from
Yeah.
the content that you get, right? It's so far less authentic, and that's why they all suck. But it's a shame, because all of them used to be great for the reasons that you both said right there. It just got me thinking about the olden days, and stuff doesn't always get better over time. And there's been good things along the way for each of those, but for the most part, I hate to be old man going off my lawn type of things, but it used to be way better. It has gotten so, I mean, can you imagine if what we're going through now with this pandemic and the Black Lives Matter movement, how different it would be 8 years ago? I mean, for good reasons and for bad, right? Obviously, there's a lot of positivity happening with the Black Lives Movement matter and how that's getting out and the reach that it's had. But I mean, the coverage of everything nowadays that it's just everywhere. It's infiltrating all of these platforms, and it's just a secondary news site instead of what it is truly supposed to be, social media. So RIP old Facebook. Had to get off my chest.